Hello, Facebook. Welcome to Wine Cellar's special edition of virtual tasting. My name is Lee Schlesinger, and I'm the Vice President of Portfolio Management and Education here at Wine Cellars. I've been fortunate enough to work for this company for 18 years. And through this, I've got to meet quite a few interesting and great people producing fantastic wines. We've got a terrific producer from Germany today, from the Rhinehessen, Schäfer, and we're going to taste 3 wines from them. They make organic Riesling, a dry Riesling, an organic dry rosé, and an organic Pinot Noir, among other things. Those are the 3 wines we'll be tasting today. We'll also have with us the owners, Friede and Volker Schäfer, along with another special guest, Derek Vinicombe, who has been working with Wine Cellars for 35 years. We'll get into that shortly. Derek is here because he's an export consolidator. He works as with smaller producers that may not want to or are able to deal with the logistics, compliance, as well as sales and marketing to export wine. So through Derek, we get quite a few small family-owned producers such as Schäfer. So without further ado, let's introduce Volker and Friede. Volker, Friede.
Hello.
Hello, Lee.
And Derek here. Welcome from 11 o'clock in Germany. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Hello.
Nice to see you all.
So, Volker, why don't you tell us a little bit about the estate and the incredible history behind it and how many generations it's been in the family? And let's start there.
Okay. Hello and welcome everybody to our tasting tonight and to the Schäfer estate. I want to introduce first of all me and my wife. I'm the owner. I'm Volker Schäfer, the owner and the winemaker and the tractor driver. And this is my wife, Friederike, and she is, she is.
I'm responsible for all job in the office, and I'm in the background.
So my family is cultivating wine since 1709. So you see, we have a really long tradition in winemaking, and our winery located in Mettenheim. Mettenheim is in the Rhinehessen region. This is the largest wine region in Germany, and we are cultivating 22 hectares in Mettenheim. It's a little bit in the south of Frankfurt, 1 hour drive in the south of Frankfurt, and yes. We are in Mettenheim. It's a little small village with 1,500 people are living there, and but we have 10 wineries and who are in the village, and whereof 5 wineries are organic. So we also are organic certified winery. And a lot of things are changing in the past, in the last 20 years. So we took over from my father, Karl Ludwig. He is still working he's a labeling master, and he's still working in the winery. And we took over from him in 2001. And we started with 8.5 hectares. That's round about 21 acres. And now we expanded it to 22 hectares. So you see that this was the first step, and the second step was to go over to organic. We switched over to organic in 2012. That was a big step for us, and but we want to do it because we have vineyards and we love our nature. We have vineyards in our family a long time, and the main thing for us is the soil. You also can, without a healthy soil, we cannot harvest a good wine. That's my
Our opinion.
Our opinion, yeah. And so that was a big step to switch over to organic in 2012. And 2015, we were very happy over or about our first certified organic vintage. And so, yes, now.
Hey, Volker, can you show us where we are on the map here, on the larger map? We see Frankfurt up in that upper right corner, and then
Yes.
we're going to go along the Rhine there.
On the
Down
border, from the orange part to the green part. You see, a little bit on the Rhine River, you go down, and when the orange part, it's the last village in the orange part.
And then
it's really near to,
the border.
to the border, to the green part. Yeah.
okay, and then if we blow it up a little bit further, here's kind of how close we are to the Rhine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you're in the town of Mettenheim, which is to the south here, south of Oppenheim.
Yeah.
And you have vineyard holdings in any of these single vineyard sites?
Yes, we have the main we have in Schlossberg. Yeah, Schlossberg is our main.
It's not and also called.
And also Goldberg. It's our these both are our main vineyard sites. Yes, mostly loamy soil there and really old traditional vineyard sites, and so we are happy about this. Yeah.
Well, let's take another couple of looks here in the Google Earth. I think this also shows obviously how close you are to the river, which is important for your microclimate there.
Yeah.
And then here's a Google Earth shot of Mettenheim. Can you wave to us and can you see us?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, now. Yeah, and
There's the cellar.
Mettenheim is on the foot of the rolling slopes, so it's in the Rhine Valley, but the rolling slope is rising there. Yeah, but it's not really steep, and we can manage a lot of things with tractors and with machines, but it's.
Right, and so that gives you a little bit of an eastern exposure, or an eastern exposure, correct?
I didn't catch it. What?
An eastern exposure. You face.
It's mostly eastern exposure, but also it's also south faced some vineyard sides. But it's. In these days, it doesn't matter because the climate is a little bit changing, and also in the past, when we have colder vineyard side, east or west south faced, you cannot harvest a big wine. But in these days, we can harvest a perfect, wonderful Riesling or Pinot Noir. It's changing a little bit.
Yeah, we've got some global climate change which leads to warmer temperatures, which makes it easier to cultivate in a marginal climate like where you are. It's warmer and warmer, so we're less reliant on good vintages. A good vintage tends to be almost every year because of increased warmth. Yeah. Hey, Derek, you got anything to add?
Well, just welcoming people. Christian's just joined us as well. Our ambassador, who lives in Germany and in near Washington D.C. He's just joined us as well. I see. That's very nice.
Yeah, hello,
Good
Christian.
evening, everybody. Yeah. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Yeah.
Hi, Christian.
I wanted to add, of course, that's very important. The Mettenheim is very important. The terroir. We were talking about Oppenheim before, and Oppenheim to the north, that is limestone. And as soon as we go down south, when we get to where Volker is, that changes. He mentioned that loamy soil. This gives a very appealing flavor to the wine, softer and smoother, more elegance. So that's why we're only a few miles away from where I'm sitting, a little bit further north. But even where Volker is, every single wine tastes different when you're going along the Rhine. That's so spectacular about the whole thing. Everything's very, very terroir driven.
I think that brings us to a good point here, which is we have 3 wines, and we're going to go through some tasting notes eventually. But we have a little bit more. We want to visit to the to the cellars as well as to the vineyards. But if anybody has some wine open, maybe the dry Riesling might be a good place for us to start while we enjoy some more pictures and maybe some more history and some more about the estate from Volker. So I'm going to pull back the video here and see if we can get some nice pictures to get everybody acquainted with. Voila.
Yeah, voila. This is our house and our winery we live, and I told it in our winery a lot of things are changing. Also, we built a new warehouse in 2015, and so for more space for managing, and we are built the warehouse a little bit outside of our little village, and but it's very close to the here you can see it, and this is our wine cellar, everything. Yeah, but we still have the older part where in my father's house, and we have an old wine cellar. We still have it with a lot of oak barrels and barriques and the traditional wine cellar. And but for the everyday work or for we built this warehouse. So yeah.
Hey, Volker, so you go back to 1709 you mentioned. So how old are these particular cellars and what vintages might be down there?
So these wines are these wines mostly are sweet and white, and from the 70s. Our oldest vintage is 1936. So, but it's now the point is so the corks are not really good for
Such a long storage.
such a long storage, but it works with some bottles, and it's really good taste from a Riesling BA from 1976 or a Siegerreber Trockenbeerenauslese from 1979 or something like this. Yeah, that's really amazing. It's
Yeah, those sweet wines can really age.
Yeah.
Derek, what's the oldest? Derek, what's the oldest you have in your cellar down there?
Unfortunately, I have too many friends. No, but it's interesting to note how things have changed in Germany. When I first started studying viticulture back in '69, even Volker's wines from his dad, they were all sweet. The red wines were sweet in those days. And I was making just red white wine, not real red wine like Volker makes today. I mean, things have changed quite radically in Germany. It's been an absolute revolution. And that was the first wines we used to export to the US. That was a Spätburgunder, a Pinot Noir Spätlese, late harvest, sweet. We would say that in Chicago, buckets of it, a lot of it.
It was in the early 80s or something like this.
That was the early 80s. A sweet Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
Late harvest.
Derek, you've been working with wine cellars for 35 years now.
Well, since even before wine cellars were founded, I was working with Yale.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's interesting because we've seen such a huge revolution going on. Everything's changed so dramatically.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point to touch on. Derek, that time maybe sweet wines production was 75%, 2/3, something like that, and now maybe it's almost the reverse.
Well, okay, don't forget, in Germany, everybody's always been drinking drier wines. I mean, I studied viticulture in Bavaria, and it was more or less 100% dry in those days. It was only the wines which were made sweet or kept sweet to export to the UK, to Great Britain, or to Japan, or to, of course, to the US market. But all my German friends, I mean, they would never drink sweet wines anyway. But it's always been a tradition in Germany to drink drier wines. And it was only the very few wines which were sweet.
Yeah, I think it's a matter
that are now really taking shape in the US.
Lee, there's a question from Christian. He asked me if we also have older vintage. Yes, we have. Our oldest red wine is from the 1971, Portuguese late house.
Oh.
And also we still have a 1976. So
where is it? Where is it?
That's another day.
A secret.
Yeah, but as Volker said, the big problem is the damn corks, because over these years, the corks just don't hold up anymore. And that's why we're so pleased to have our nice screw tops now. These wines will keep forever, but the trouble is they won't keep very long because I keep opening the bottles. So that's one of the major problems. Yeah.
That sounds like a Derek problem. Let's learn a little bit more about Volker and your family.
Yeah. So
you can see that's the whole family. That is my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, Anneliese and Karl Ludwig, and the boy on the left side. This is Philip. He's 19 years old, and the boy on the right side is Felix. He's 17 years old, and both are very interested in taking over someday the winery. Yeah, they help a lot of, and yeah, we are very proud of our sons that they are interested in that what we do. Yeah,
and the one with the long hair, that I am.
Yeah, the longest hair.
Well, that's why we got that famous hat for you.
And also my grandfather is 48. My father-in-law, sorry.
And then 48, 84.
84.
I'm 48.
Yeah, 84. And my mother-in-law is 80. So, and they still help every day. We call them, they are our clockwork. Yeah, every day a little bit of work keeps a good health.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So how many generations?
1709. I don't know how many generations there is, but it's a long time in the family, or the family is a long time in the wine business. So
yeah.
I don't
Cool.
know.
Well, before we move into talking about some of the organic viticulture and that kind of stuff, maybe we can taste the Riesling, and I'll see if I can answer a couple questions while we go here. So why don't you tell us about the Riesling, the style of Riesling, and how important that variety is for you guys?
So the first wine is the Riesling dry style. In Germany, we call it fine herb, and Riesling is very important. It's Germany is a Riesling country, and also in our winery, it's the most blended wide variety. And Riesling it's very important for me. But you must know, 90%. I saw it. Keith is speaking about this. In 90% in our winery is dry. Riesling is we sell a lot of dry Rieslings or off-dry Riesling. That is really important. So I like to taste the dry or off-dry Riesling because you have the completely fruitiness and freshness, the minerality, the feeling of the passion of the winemaker, the soil, everything. You can feel it on a dry or dry style Riesling from the Rhinehessen region. Yeah.
So a question for you on this wine. We talk about dry and sweet and off-dry fine herb. There's classifications for this, and we can get kind of geeky about it. But just for the geeky side of thing, how much residual sugar is in this wine? Do we know per gram, grams per liter?
Yes, this depends on the vintage, but mostly we have 11.5 gram residual sugar, and the acidity is it is not really it's a 6.5 gram residual sugar acidity, and so I think, or I guess it's a good balance between the acidity and the grape sugar, the residual sugar. The main thing on this Riesling is this Riesling was fermented in a special stainless steel. It's a pressure stainless steel tank, so I can regulate the fermentation. So, and I can stop the fermentation at 11 or 12 roundabout gram residual sugar, and you have the whole freshness, the fruitness, the crispness in the wine. And that's different from other Rieslings. So,
yeah, I think it's important to note that if people think that seems like a lot of sugar, 11.5 grams would be considered sweet for if it was made in California and the acidity wasn't as high as it is here. But with Riesling acidity so high that you almost need some amount of residual sugar just to balance it out and make it seem dry. So it's that balance between sugar and acid that gives you the perceived sweetness. So even though that number may seem high, to me, this wine tastes just off dry, fruity maybe. Derek?
Yeah, well, in Germany, we have unfortunately a lot of stupid laws. And we have a law saying for a dry wine can only go up to 9 grams per liter of residual sugar. But of course, as you were saying, Lee, if you've got a good acidity, 9 grams will taste very dry indeed, and 11 will also taste dry. And sometimes a wine with even up to 18 grams, you will not have any perceptive sweetness. The wine will have a fairly dry finish to it. So it's this beautiful balance between the acidity and the sweetness, where you don't have perceptive sweetness, but the sweetness is tucked in behind the acidity. And this makes the wine so versatile. And I was just thinking, I had this, my chicken curry I made for myself tonight. And I had the rosé with it, but the rosé was dry. But I think if I had had that Riesling with those few grams of residual sugar, the Riesling would have matched my chicken curry much better indeed. So it was a mistake I made.
Very good.
People keep asking me, what's my favorite wine? Which wine should I have? I said, my favorite wine is always the wine I have in my glass at this very moment. As long as you have a decent bottle of wine at home, that's the main thing, a real authentic wine. Don't worry too much about which wine goes with which food. Just experiment. The main thing is to have real authentic wines. And that's why we're so pleased with Volker, because his wines, you can't get much more authentic if you're certified organic, of course.
Well, I think that's a great transition into talking about the organic program and why he's organic. So back to Volker and Friede to describe maybe why you decided to go organic and what it means to you and what it does to the wines. I'll pull up the presentation here too.
So we switched over to organic in 2012, and our thoughts was we have so old vineyard sites, and the main thing is our soil. And when you damage the soil, you cannot repair it. Yeah, when you damage a car, you can go and can buy a new one. But when you damage the soil, and this is one the basic thing. So you are not allowed, when you are certified organic, you are not allowed to spray any herbicides, no insecticides, special fungicides, and like baking powder or orange juice concentrate or something like this. And yes, it is a big step because the yield is lower, but that's good for the quality. And I think you spüren, you feel it in the wine. It's natural, and for me, I have another crazy passion. I work without yeast. Yeah, I make a natural with natural yeast, and this is the next thing I want to do. So
yeah, what we call spontaneous fermentation or native yeast fermentation.
the natural yeast fermentation, yes.
Exactly. Yeah, this picture is kind of cool. I mean, obviously, you have a lovely mustache.
No.
But I think this picture actually demonstrates what we're talking about, which is preserving some of that natural flora that's there, which obviously you've tilled between every other row to control how much vegetation grows and competes for water and other nutrients. So you're actually just tilling rather than using herbicides like in a conventional agriculture.
Yeah. So let's
see what else we got. Look at all that.
Yeah.
Diversity.
And so we are not allowed to work with any mineral fertilizer. We only do natural fertilizer like green fertilizing and back again. Green fertilizing or something compost or something like this. So this is good for the soil activity, for the soil life, the soil life, and yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that picture we had before with Volker with his moustache in the vineyard, I took that picture, I think, about 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But first of all, you see that is organic because there's no herbicides taking away the weeds, and it's green planting, green grass in between. But the vines at the moment, the new shoots, the vineyards look like that today. So we are at this stage already at this very moment. So this is not an actual picture of this year that was taken. As I said, I took that 2 years ago. But at the moment, that is exactly as we are today. And I took that picture also about middle of April 2 years ago. So we are fairly well ahead already with the vegetation. So the climate has changed definitely over the last 20, 30, 40 years.
Do you mean you took it in the middle of May?
No. This that was took, I think, in 2017, where we also had an early bud break as well. Every year we are now getting a bud break very early on. We have no winter. We had no winter, and the bud break is almost too early now. So we're at least 4 weeks ahead of normal every year now.
And now we are on this length.
Yeah.
This year.
And tomorrow morning,
we are 3 weeks earlier. Oh, look at this, man.
Yeah.
That's for your Texas fans.
Not quite that fast. No, but the amazing thing with wine, you can take a bottle of wine and sit in the vineyard, drink that bottle, and by the end you will have seen how much those shoots have grown. It's absolutely
these grapes are Chardonnay. 30 years before, you cannot harvest any Chardonnay here in Germany. So so you can see it's really ripened. We have Chardonnays from with 13 or 13 and a half or Burgundy types or Burgundy types of Burgundy types varieties. So
thank you, climate change. Thank you.
But today we talk about Riesling, and the next one is a rosé, I think. Or
let's go ahead and taste some rosé next.
Okay.
So here's our rosé. And Volker, can you tell us what the production process is here? It's not saignée, it's a little bit of skin contact, and the grape varieties you use, and
so normally I will do every year the same type. So it depends on the vintage. 2017 I prefer the Portuguese, the Pinot Noir, and a little bit Merlot. In 2018, the Merlot and Dornfelder and Portuguese, and 2019, 100% Portuguese. It depends on the vintage. But I want to do every year the same easy style, light drinkings, rosé for everyone, for everywhere, for every day, for every situation. So like rosé all day. Yeah. So that's my plan. And
Your English is getting better.
Pardon me?
Your English is getting better. Rosé all day.
That's a rosé. Perhaps it's have to drink more.
It's like a medicine.
And you're making it from whatever grape varieties?
Yeah, mostly Portuguese, Pinot Noir, Dornfelder, sometimes a little bit Merlot.
Yeah, which are...
I think Portuguese is a really old, traditional variety of our region, of the Rhinehessen and the Pfalz region. And it's not a no crossing varietal. It's a really old varietal. And for me, I guess it is really the perfect varietal to make a rosé with a little bit of pink color, with a little bit the fruity notes, dry style. It's not a sweet one. It's on the dry side. It's not a sweet rosé. And when I was in Texas and I traveled, the people like this lightness and the dryness of this rosé, and also in other countries, regions, yes.
Yeah, well,
that's also important with Portuguese. The yields can get very high, so it's important, especially with Volker and the good wine estates. They prune carefully. We saw a picture of one of the vines which have been pruned very carefully, so that the yield is kept down. And if you keep the yield down, the wine is not diluted, so you get a wine with quite some good substance to it.
Good intensity.
Even with Portuguese, you can get to a good quality, but otherwise it will get very, very diluted.
Yeah. We were talking about other regions. We have some people joining us from other regions, and I wanted to bring in some special guests. So we have our good friend Samantha from Ohio, who's a Wine Cellars employee who has a bottle of the rosé at home that I would love to pull her in and get her viewpoint on the rosé and what she thinks about it and her customers think about it. So let's welcome to the show, Miss Samantha.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, Sam.
Oh, yes. Drinking some rosé.
Cheers.
Thank you guys for doing this. And I want to just a quick shout out to all my Cleveland people. I saw some Lakewood people on here and West Shore Wine Company for doing this. And there's even a couple of Michigan people on there, Derek. I don't know if you noticed that, but there's some Michigan people. So thank you guys for joining and watching and drinking along in this Pinot Noir rosé. This is like rosé all day kind of rosé.
Yeah. Cool.
Well,
Thank you again for doing this. And thanks for letting me jump on and say hi. Is Maria on there to?
Yeah, I can probably pull her in. Let's see if we can find her. I see an M. Meyer, Kim, Carolyn. I saw Maria before. I don't see her on current.
No? All right. Well, we can come back to her later.
Okay. Just text me if she wants to jump in. And Sam, thanks so much for joining and supporting and getting some friends on board from the Midwest. And
Yeah, no problem.
keep up the good work. We'll welcome you back to the show again maybe later for a final goodbye.
Okay.
Thanks for joining.
but it's
Thank you.
sad
Bye.
her children. Where are they all?
Where's all my kids?
Yeah.
And if you'll be able to.
Or 6 or 7 or 8 of them.
Come on now, Derek.
You're being called right now.
Hi, Sam. We'll let you run. So we started talking about some of these red varieties as we entered into the rosé arena. But maybe we should talk about red wine production and kind of how it shifted with your father, Volker, and what you're doing, what varieties you work with, and what you think is special about it. And maybe we can open up the Pinot Noir in the meantime.
Yeah. So, you know, Pinot Noir 2018. Yeah, it's a really good vintage, 2018. So we started with Pinot Noir in our winery in 1970. That's a really long tradition to making reds in the Rhinehessen region. And my father was a little bit, how can I say, a pioneer or something for the reds. And Derek said it's climate is a little bit working for this varietal, so we can do also different varietals like Merlot and Portugieser, but the main thing is in our winery and a lot of wineries here in Germany, Pinot Noir. And the Pinot Noir, you must know, Germany is the third largest Pinot Noir country in the world. And so you can see that Pinot Noir getting more and more popular in Germany and also in the world. This vintage 2018 Pinot Noir is fermented in stainless steel. That's my passion. I will do red wines, really lightful, really easy drinking reds, really drinkable, smooth, low acidity, low tannins, low no oak on it, and this is my passion. I will do, yeah, or our passion. We will do Pinot Noir. I love the varietals. This is my favorite varietal in the reds, and we have in our winery around about 35% reds, and so the alcohol in this vintage is 13.80 or 14%, yeah, and this is really it's a lot for Germany. Normally we are on the 13 or 13.5, but you know, 2018 was one of my favorite vintage I ever harvested. But this is a really young guy, but it has a lot of for the future. You can store it and you can drink it in the next 10 years. So
yes, amazing.
I remember 2015 is still showing beautifully now, even today, 15. But the nice thing about Volker's red wines is Pinot Noir. It's not mash fermentation, so you have a wine that's unadulterated Pinot Noir, absolutely unadulterated. You get the pure Pinot flavor coming through in the nose and in the palate, without being overloaded with tannins, and that's quite different to other Pinot Noirs that you see on the shelves. That's why I like his. And of course, you can also have it lightly chilled, which is also very good in the summer for light cuisine. So it's quite different to other Pinot Noirs, which are very heavy and full. I mean, I love Oregon Pinot Noirs, but they are something quite different. Quite different.
Derek, just chill.
I had chilled this bottle particularly tonight, about 10 minutes in the fridge. It just made it a little even more fresher.
Yeah, there we are.
Yeah. Just chill and kill.
Kill, man, you are killing it with the English. Did you pick all that up in Texas when you were there in January?
That's perfect. Perhaps that's perhaps a wine. I need more wine. The English get it better.
Yeah. So kind of amazing for me here is the level of ripeness that you get. You got 13.8% alcohol, almost 14%, which is hard to get in California sometimes, depending on where you are. And for your climate in Germany, that style of wine is not normal.
Yeah,
maybe more normal.
But when you taste the 14% German Pinot Noir or my Pinot Noir, it don't taste like a 14% because we have I make no mash fermentation. I make mash heating. So that means Pinot Noir berries are blueberries, and the color is in the skin. So you have two versions to put the color out. One version is the traditional way. It's the traditional way. You have more tannins, you have more acidity, and yes, it's a traditional way. And I make mash heating. So I heat up the mash for 2 minutes to 70 degrees Celsius. I don't know how much Fahrenheit it is, but 70 degrees Celsius for 2 minutes, and then I cool it down, and the color come out of the skin, and the taste is it's easier, it's lighter. You have the fruit, you have everything, and really low tannins. It's very healthy for drinking. You can drink not only 1 glass, you can drink 2 or 3 glasses. So that's my philosophy.
Yeah, there's a thing called thermo vinification for wine geeks out there. Thermo vinification, which is heating up your mash, and it accelerates the extraction of color. And they used to use it in a lot of places. But your temperature that about 70 C gets to about 160 degrees Fahrenheit, but it only stays there for a short period of time in order to extract the color and the tannin and the flavors that we're looking for.
Yeah.
But the good thing about these red wines on this loamy soil, the alcohol does not burn. I mean, that's unusual. Even with 13.5% of alcohol, the wine has a good balance to it, and the alcohol is behind the minerality and the extract in the wine. Sometimes I've seen wines where the alcohol starts to burn, but that can be if the wine is just thinly produced. But if you keep your yield down, you have good extract content in the wine, and that seems to balance the wine out very nicely. So with Volker's wines, I mean, even though it's good 13% of alcohol or 13.5%, it doesn't burn the alcohol. You have to be careful. You must remember you are drinking alcohol. That's the only problem. Don't forget that.
Well, of course. Here, what I find interesting and what I like about Pinot Noir, I find interesting about Pinot Noir is the fact that when you get to 14% alcohol, say in California, there's the Shepherd. When we get to about 14% alcohol, we tend to get these flavors that are overripe, stewed, and jammy, or taste candy. Here we still have freshness and elegance.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's part and parcel because you have cooler nights, maybe, right? And you have a long hang time, which means that you slowly get to that degree of alcohol. You get that ripeness over a long period of time. You're harvesting this Pinot Noir when?
It depends on the wind, normally in mid of October. So at Riesling and Pinot Noir is like similar. It's really the same time.
That's very long times.
Yeah. I learned you need at least 100 days between flowering and picking. At least 100 days to get sufficient ripeness. And in Germany at the moment, we're between 120 and 150 days at least between flowering and harvesting. So we have a very, as you said, we have a long hang time. So it's no good planting vines. It's too hot, otherwise the hang time will not be long enough, and we can't get all this stuff out of the terroir, the soil, the extract, the minerals.
So there is another crazy thing I do. So the clones of the varietals, you have different clones from one varietal. You can have a clone with more fruit, with low yield, with high acidity, with big yield, or something, and I mix the clones in one vineyard site. I mix it since the last 20 years, and so you have in the wine from every clone a special type, and so you have everything. So it's sometimes a little bit complicated, but because of the ripeness, some is more ripened, but before we harvest, we go outside with our season worker, and we put over-ripen and unripen grapes away and wait for the perfect time to harvest the rest with the machine. And so I guess it's the best way to have every Pinot Noir Pinot Noir notes in the wine. So yeah, that's my philosophy, and I make it straight. My father and somebody or something are sometimes looking a little bit scary about this, but it works. It works really, and the wines can get longer in the soil. So yeah.
But this philosophy, first of all, because I started making wine 50 years ago, and in those days, Pinot Noir would hardly have ripened enough. We did not get physiological ripeness, and that's so important. I was never taught that by my professors at the time. They never taught me this word physiological ripeness. We just we had to make the wine sweet, and they didn't get ripe enough.
It was a focus on sugar.
They were tart tasting. But nowadays we have beautiful physiological ripeness, and that's why Volker can really let his philosophy go all loose nowadays with nice, ripe, healthy grapes. We didn't use we did it in those days. We had to use botrytis to get Pinot Noir ripe enough. Botrytis. That's nowadays madness.
Yeah, you never do that today, huh?
Ripe, healthy grapes.
But Derek, you don't look like 50 years winemaking. You look like younger.
You look younger than ever.
70 years of wine drinking. I was brought up on the bottle.
Hey, we have another special guest that wanted to say hi to to Volker. It's our friend from RC Distributors in Ohio, who is representing and has some friends and customers and would love to say hi to Volker. So I'm going to add Maria here to us and welcome her to the show. Maria, can you hear us?
Coming.
Hi.
The microphone is not working at present.
Nope.
She's muted.
We can see her, and she has a glass of wine, but we can't hear her yet.
I can unmute her. I think
we can't hear her. But hello,
yeah.
Maria.
Yeah. She's getting worried, but she had a glass, I think.
Yeah. Now she's.
That's important. That's an important thing.
Yeah.
There she is.
Hello.
Hi, cheers.
Cheers, Maria. What are you drinking over there? Some Pinot Noir, yes?
That looks like a.
We love
Could be
your
a
wines
cat.
in Ohio.
Could be a cat.
Thank you.
You're a little choppy there.
What's
All right,
happened
well-
to her
Sorry, I
connection?
can't hear. It keeps cracking in and out.
Yeah, she's a little choppy there, but Maria, we thank you for your support over there and all your assistance with spreading the good word of Riesling, Pinot Noir, and some organic rosé from Schäfer. And we raise a glass to you and your friends in Ohio.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention something. They're not just organic, they're also vegan. Folks, the wines are also vegan. And we put that little logo now on the bottle as well, on the label. Vegan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, there we are.
Yeah.
A lot of fans for vegan wines, yeah. Does your body good? Does your body good?
It certainly doesn't use any animal products in the process or making of the wine. So
Exactly, yeah.
Yes.
That's right. So
yeah.
that's a vegan. That's a vegan. For some people, really important to know this. And though we are also in Germany, we have a lot of customers who are asking about this. So we make nothing about animal
Byproducts.
yeah, products in with winemaking. So
This is what has so changed in the last 50 years. When I was first studying viticulture, The professor was telling us how much to spray. We were spraying fungicides, herbicides, insecticides. And he said, look on the package, read what it says, and spray twice the quantity. In those days, we just killed the soil, we killed everything. So there's been a huge revolution. That's why I'm so pleased to see how the Schäfer estate has developed over the years to go organic, to really care for Mother Nature. I was stupid at those times. I was an idiot, how I learned to make wine. But things have changed. It's great to see the youngsters take care of Mother Nature nowadays. It's
but this was in the past. Yeah, also the new generation of normal winemaking is different to the past. They are thinking about everything. Yeah, they're spraying with high technology, GPS, spraying machines, and something like this. And the difference is it's for organic to normal it's the herbicides and the other fungicides, but it's not and insecticide. But the normal winemakers are also more technology on more knowledge than in the past. So it
might be modern technology, but it's back to Mother Nature. You're still
back to Mother Nature. Yeah.
And I wanted 50 years ago.
There's a move away from industrial agriculture, which is what you're talking about, Derek, to modern agriculture, which is what Volker's talking about, in technology, as well as an understanding that biodiversity translates to complexity and more expression of terroir in wine, possibly, is what we're looking for. Identity, uniqueness, and terroir get neutralized when we're spraying all that stuff.
So, I mean, the quality is certainly immensely improved over the last 50 years. It's not just the climate change. It's not just the climate change.
And
it's all these aspects coming together with the sheep running across all over the place.
So I think it's important to mention that these wines are super affordable for those people out there. They're $15 or under on all three of them. So take a look for them out in your retail shops and remember what they represent, which is a slice of the Rhinehessen as interpreted by our friend Volker and his family and Friede and company, and the two young boys that are taking over and apparently countless generations, according to Volker.
Well, this is something quite unusual. I mean, before 2008, before the financial problems in 2008, nobody was interested in going into viticulture or agriculture. People wanted to earn tons of money going into insurance business, the banking business, earning tons of money, and nobody wanted to go working in the vineyards. But that changed dramatically, that people are now interested in Mother Nature, the youngsters. I mean, all over Rhinehessen, all over, not just Germany, it's all over the world. The youngsters have now, I mean, they'll never get rich, but you're working with Mother Nature, and it's all these youngsters have developed this devotion and passion to work with Mother Nature. And that keeps me going anyway, to see these youngsters working so hard. It's damn hard work.
My two boys help us a lot of things. We are planning a new vineyard site, and we are pruning and something like the tractor driving and something. They're so happy in the last 7 weeks. So we are healthy. We are positive. We are looking forward. We are drinking daily our glass of wine, and
all this work keeps Volker out of mischief. Of course, that's good.
Well, Volker and Derek, we really look forward to when you can come. And I see Annette says as soon as she can depart Germany or get out, she's looking forward to tasting the wines. But we look forward to being able to actually raise a glass with you in person.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I want to thank everybody for coming along.
I was supposed to be in the US next week.
What's that?
I was supposed to be in the US next week.
We had a special bottle to open together, Derek, and
exactly. Yeah, I know.
you'll have to go back to the cellar.
Yeah.
So thanks
No,
everybody
we're
for
looking
joining
forward
us.
to when we come over and
Thank
see
you.
our friends.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay healthy, drink
Lovely.
organic, and enjoy
Cheers.
some.
Cheers, everybody.
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy and drink wine.
Yeah, it's been
Cheers.
lovely.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Take a look at our Facebook page. We're now streaming on YouTube as well, and we have every Wednesday and Saturday a tasting with one of our different great suppliers like Volker, and we look forward to seeing you again then. This was a bonus edition from Wine Cellars. So thanks again, Derek, Volker, Friede, and Sam and Maria for joining us here today. Be safe, everybody. Enjoy.
Yeah,
Thank you, Lee, for your good work.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. See ya. Cheers.